will deliver the opening statement first, and which candidate will deliver the closing statement first. The candidate who delivers the first opening statement will also be the first to answer the first question. Then we will switch the order with each question. Each candidate will have 1 minute to deliver a closing statement. With that, it's time for opening statements. First, Mr. Arellano.
Thank you. Yes, my name's Lee. Obviously, I live in Dixon running for mayor. I'm an Army sergeant, a non-commissioned officer. To quote the NCO creed, a leader of soldiers. I've been to Iraq twice, 2 combat tours. I've been in the military going on 12 years this coming April 11th. 2003 is when I enlisted. So extensive military experience, military leadership training, and actual leadership experience in a combat zone, which I would classify as one of the most stressful working conditions on the planet, probably. I also have a great deal of business experience. I've been in corporate management for corporate Jimmy John's, along with management experience before that, before I decided to franchise for myself. I bought the franchise in 2007. We opened the doors in Dixon in 2008. So I've been a business owner and operator since then, and there's a lot of experience that comes with that in terms of budgeting, marketing, personnel. I recently got into the more development side of things, including doing a build-out for the Folsoms, which now is one of my tenants in Dixon, and opening a new branch in Rock Falls, which has been very successful. So I've added kind of the development experience side to things in recent years, and that's been very fun as well. So I think my talents and experience match up very well, which was expected of the next mayor. You're going to want leadership, experience. I have over 60 employees, and development and business knowledge. I think that's all key. And I'm very passionate about the city, so I think there's a lot of opportunities to be had there.
Okay, Mr. Kuhn.
I'd like to thank Sauk Valley Media for arranging today's debate between the Dixon mayoral candidates. This is an excellent way to inform the citizens of Dixon about the issues in the race. My name is Jeff Kuhn, and I want to be the next mayor of Dixon. I began my public service in 1973 when I moved to Dixon to teach in the public schools. I taught government and mathematics in the junior high for 33 years. It was upon my retirement from teaching that my students encouraged me to run for city council. I did so in 2011 and was selected. I have served 4 years as Commissioner of Streets and Public Improvements. Prior to being elected to the City Council, I served the city on the Zoning Board of Appeals and have volunteered as a member of the Dixon Petunia Festival Board, as well as serving as its president, the Veterans Memorial Park Committee, Dixon Main Street, as well as being a member of the Lions, Elks, and First United Methodist Church. Being retired, I have the time and energy to serve the people of Dixon as a full-time mayor. The mayor is the architect and ambassador for the city. I have first-hand experience to continue the progress made, and I am prepared for the transition to Dixon's managerial government.
Okay, the first question, Mr. Arellano. What will your top priorities be if you are elected mayor?
Well, I think the first one is a no-brainer. As you've mentioned, and I think almost the whole city is aware now, we're going to be changing our form of government, which is going to be a massive amount of work and time. And I think one of the keys is not only the initial implementation, but we're going to want to keep checking it as we go. These first 4 years of mayor and council are going to be setting all the precedents that are going to be followed for decades and decades to come. So those are very key. We're literally laying the groundwork for generations of government, presumably in Dixon. So that would be goal number one. Goal number two is to continue what I see as a very grassroots effort in terms of culture and business and entrepreneurship that's happened in Dixon. I think there's a lot of good things happening. I think there's an amazing amount of potential there. And that's something I'm very passionate about. It's part of what I do. It's been fun to be a small part of it. And I think there's a ton of potential out by the interstate, continuing development along the riverfront. I just think it's a great time to be living in Dixon, and I think there's a lot of potential there that I'm uniquely qualified to help with. And the third thing is, as part of the offshoot for changing the form of government, we're going to be changing the structures. We're going to be having a lot of employee turnover. Recently, we have a lot of our department heads scheduled to retire soon. So one of the keys is going to be balancing that and making sure the council itself has the authorities and powers to represent the will of the people. So there might be some actual changing into wards and things like that I would like to focus on.
Okay, Mr. Kuhn?
My top priority is going to be to get the best manager possible. The citizens of Dixon have voted onto the managerial form of government. We must be prudent, we must be insightful to get the right person on board. Now, according to the code on how this works, the new council will be the people to hire the manager. All the previous paperwork will be done by the current council. The last one we should be acting on at the last meeting in April. So freeing it up for the new council to hire them. So I'm hoping we can do the prudent job. We need to review all options and get the very best person we can for this position. Economic development. The city is moving forward. We have momentum. We have things going the way we want them to. We must continue that. Along the lines of economic development, of course, is three simple words: jobs, jobs, jobs. And we don't want just jobs that are going to pay minimum wage. We want good jobs that a person is going to be able to support their family on. Number three, we have to update the infrastructure. I've been doing a lot of this already with the street department. It's a never-ending battle. You have to keep at it. We must continue that. And fourthly, I must stress we have to keep our momentum going. We've recovered. We're moving along very well. I'd like to see that continue on.
Mr. Arellano, rebuttal, 30 seconds.
I don't think there's much to say more than that. Infrastructure is going to be a continuing catch-up process. That's one of the things that we obviously pushed back, maintenance and infrastructure, while we're having our money losses. No, I think that covers it.
Okay, anything else?
It's pretty much a very simple thing there. These are problems that are faced by every city in the state. Infrastructure is just falling apart. Ours is anywhere from 80 to 100 years old in some regions. So we have to keep on that. We have to keep it moving, and really that best manager is what we need to do. This might take a month, it might take 3 months, whatever it is, we got to get that best person there, because that is going to be our new government.
Our next question will be asked by Jeff Rogers, our managing editor.
Hey, Mr. Kuhn, the mayor has a little more responsibility than a council member. Many people blame the mayor for problems because they assume he's in charge. So why would you want the headache of being mayor when you could just have as much authority if you were elected to the council?
Well, first of all, I believe it's necessary to get a full-time mayor in this position. I'd say, as I said earlier, I'm retired. I have the time. I have the ability to put in an 8-hour day down there if that's what it's going to be taking. Also, along those same lines is experience. I have already had 4 years on the council. In the process of being on the council, you learn a lot of different things. You learn contacts, you need who to contact and this sort of thing. It comes with experience, and I have that experience also. And I also, above anything else, have just a passion for the city. I've been here since 1973. I love the city. I love what we've been able to do on that. So I believe that the combination of experience, my feelings of the city, and the fact that I have a full-time able to devote to it is going to be a very big plus there. And also, when I first came in 4 years ago, our introduction was very simple. There's your chair, have a good meeting. We had no training, nothing whatsoever. That's going to be one of the high priorities on my agenda when they come in. We're going to train these people. We can teach them all these different things they need to know, so we're not starting blindly. That's going to be a big plus for the council.
Yeah, in response, the first thing I'd like to point out too, that I think one of the crucial differences in this race is the fact that I've been a proponent of changing away from the commission form of government since April of, I think, 2012 was the first time I started talking about that. And my opponent's been opposing it very vocally. And one of the things that was interesting about what he just said is in July of last year, he mentioned that to the commission on changing the form of government, that I believe him and Commissioner Bershon mentioned they didn't feel they had enough training when they came in. And that was exactly one of the reasons why we needed a more professional management involved with that training in public administration. And he still opposed that change, which I think is absolutely key. In terms of why I'd want to be the mayor, I'm passionate about economic development. It's what I do. It's part of my background, business management, business development. And so one of the jobs of the mayor is to be the face of the city, to go out when we're talking to developers or prospective businesses and bring them in, tell them what's great about Dixon. And who better than someone who literally did it himself, who has brought in businesses into Dixon himself and operated them, and can tell them what Dixon has going for it. So I think I'm uniquely matched to that task of being the public relations head of the city and going out and spreading that message.
Okay, Mr. Kuhn?
Yes, my opponent mentioned that I was opposed to that, which is true. I was. There's no denying that whatsoever. However, ever since that moment, I happened to be in Ireland when the vote was taken. I said, okay, that's what we're going to do. I'm on board. I had the privilege of traveling through Ireland with Mr. John Perry, past president of the State Managers Association. We spent considerable time discussing it. He wrote a book. I've read the book. I was on board. I am still on board. We're going to get this job done, and I am 100% behind the manager.
Mr. Arellano?
I think having a change of faith, once you see that 76% of the voters have decided something, is easy to do. And, in the lead up in the month before the election, he literally came out and said to your newspaper, I don't see enough people stepping up to say why this is the wrong course of action, so I'm going to step up and advocate against it. And that was in the lead up to the vote. We're talking the last few weeks. Once 76% of people come up and you see which way the political winds are saying, he might be genuine, he might also realize the electoral winds have blown. I don't think people can trust that.
Our next question will be asked by Matt Mincarini.
What should the role of city government be in Dixon, and what will your approach be to working with the city council and the city manager?
Well, first of all, a lot of it's going to be set by statute. The city manager is going to have enormous administrative power that used to belong to the commissioners. He's going to have control over the department heads, including hiring and firing. He's going to have control over all day-to-day operations. So the challenge for any carryover commissioners and the challenge for new council members is to learn we're going to be purely legislative. We're going to be purely setting policies, setting long-term goals, and of course the critical power of the purse. There's nothing that could happen in the city of Dixon without the council choosing to spend money on it. So the key role for them is going to be setting the budget, which includes setting the long-term goals. And it mirrors kind of what the school board's doing. One of the things I love that the school board's doing is they're taking a long-term approach. What do we want to do for our 20-year plan? What do we want to do for our 50-year plan? That's going to be the kind of thing that the council needs to focus on. And of course, especially for the mayor's position, you are going to be the public face of the city. You're going to be the people's ambassadors, their voice. So you're going to be listening to their concerns and turning that into policy. So that'll be the key. Working together with the city manager, of course, is going to be very important to make sure he's executing your vision properly, but ultimately day-to-day operations are going to be turned over to that city manager.
Mr. Kuhn?
Yes, in my conversations with John Perry and reading of his book and becoming very informed on how this is all going to work, he told me the number one thing is communication. Even though the manager will have the hands-on everyday decision-making process in the government, the mayor and the council has to be informed. They need to be brought up to speed in every day. Currently, we instituted a program on every Thursday. We get together with department heads to where two councilmen or councilman and mayor sit in on this and are brought up to speed on what's going at all times. And then we share that with the other members due to the Open Meetings Act. There has to be a communication. The way I envision working with this is meeting daily with the city manager, finding out just what the plans are, what's going on, what the concerns are. I would like him to find out from me what my concerns are, what my visions are, what the rest of the council means. And then that's it for me for the day. I am not going to micromanage this. That's not my function. It is the function of the manager to be doing this sort of thing. I am there to be the ambassador of the city, promote my vision, and then basically, here you go, this is what we want, get it done. So no more interference from the council, from the mayor. This person is going to do the hands-on. We're going to be doing the advising.
Mr. Arellano?
Yeah, I think one of the responses is that I've liked have been committees. It's one of the, I think, reactions most legislative bodies take. And the idea there is you have a group of members whose purpose is to drill down into specific areas and master that realm of policy, and then bring that to the council with their reportings. And I think that's one of the best ways for the council to stay in charge. And like I said, I think we might very well want to look at awards or geographic-based electoral systems so they're directly representing the voters to the government.
Mr. Kuhn?
The most important people involved in this whole process is the city residents. It's not the 5 people sitting up there. It's, you know, what is on these people's mind. That is what our commissioners are going to be doing. Well, commissioners now, later to be council members. It's how that is set up. You've mentioned a couple times now that maybe we need to go to wards or whatever. This is off in the future. This is what we get switched over to the manager's form, and then, is this what we need to be doing? How responsive can we be? Right now, we gotta get the best people we can in that position.